San Francisco. They won against Seattle. They won against Denver. But they also lost against St. Louis. They also lost against Cincinnati
They're
team.
weird. They beat good teams.
They
That's why I
lost
think
to
Indy
the
can win
Dolphins.
this game.
Yeah, I mean they are very inconsistent. They beat good teams, and they lose to teams that they should beat.
Well, I mean, the entire NFC West this year is good teams. You see, I think really, honestly, all four of the NFC West teams are better than any team from the NFC East or NFC North.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Because you look at the Rams, and outside of the division, they lost. The Rams, outside of the division, had a 500 or so, or I think even better than 500 record. But because they played such a tough division, that didn't set them up too well. And they finished last. 7-9. 7-9 Rams. The winner of the NFC West 3 years ago finished 7-9 this year. The last place finished at 7-9.
Man, how bad has that Richardson trade looked for the Colts? How bad has that looked for them?
Well, what did the Browns get out of it?
The Browns got draft picks. They got high draft picks for him.
Well, the Browns are looking. The future is bright for the Browns. They got some Pro Bowlers, Josh Gordon. If they can get a good quarterback, and I think maybe they target Manziel or what's that guy, Bridgewater in this draft. If they can target one of those players, maybe they turn out well, and the Browns have some talent on that team and a good defense and Jordan Cameron and such.
Yeah, Ian, how good are the Colts?
The Colts are a 10-6 team.
Yeah, but no, that's not the answer.
500 out of they swept their division, and they were only like 500 out of it.
The answer I was looking for was better than the Browns.
Oh. Rats.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things for the Colts that you don't see too often, where they lose the games they should win, but they win the games that are close, like against the Seahawks, against Broncos,
Niners,
and it's really tough to decide who will win the game and predict it, because
looking at the standings, I mean, you look at Indianapolis on how they finished the season, and they were 6-0 division, but that means they were 5-5 against non-division teams. Which is
those 5 wins: Seattle, Denver, San Francisco,
and those losses are the Rams, the Cardinals.
Those are good teams,
right?
But if you play the Rams in your building and you lose by 20 plus points, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, we beat Denver 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and then we just lost to the Rams by 25 points. What's going on?
I have a list of stats that I came up with post-regular season that I should read if you guys want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's about 15 of them, and they're pretty interesting stats, so I'll tell you. So the first one is that the entire NFC South played the entire NFC West this year, and the NFC West went 13-3. So that is the NFC South. That's the Colts and...
no, that's Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa.
Sorry. The Rams and Cardinals were 7-1 combined against the AFC teams, but they both missed the playoffs. Cowboys and Redskins, outside of their division, both finished 3-7, but they had very different seasons. And the Cowboys lost the final game of their season, so only the Colts were the only team in the NFL to sweep their division, and no NFC team failed to beat an AFC team. However, 3 AFC teams failed to beat an NFC team. The Rams finished 4th in the NFC West.
Wait. Can you repeat that last one? No NFC team.
No NFC team failed to beat an AFC team, but 3 AFC teams failed to beat an NFC team. So that shows how much stronger the NFC was this year.
Okay, yeah.
The Rams had the same non-division record as the Saints at 6-4. So that just shows how good the Rams were outside of the division. The Minnesota Vikings lost 5 games in the final minute this season, and if Vikings games lasted 59 minutes instead of 60, they'd be the number 3 seed in the NFC. They would have been the number 3 seed in the NFC.
Wow.
So that's a little sad. The AFC minus the Broncos finished with negative 330 net points. So, again, NFC stronger. The Broncos had 202 net points on their own, which is points scored against points combined with points given up. And then despite finishing 3rd in the NFC North, the Lions were the only team in the NFC North to finish with positive net points.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that. That's crazy.
So every NFC North team had a higher points per game allowed than every NFC West team. So the defenses, all 4 defenses in the NFC West were better than all 4 defenses in the NFC North. There were 6 teams in the NFL with only 1 road win, but the Minnesota Vikings were the only team that failed to win on the road. 5 teams finished with an average of less than 2 touchdowns a game. That includes last year's Super Bowl champion Ravens. The Jets, Jaguars, and Texans combined for 80 touchdowns this season. The Broncos scored 76 on their own. Listen to that again. The Jets, Jaguars, and Texans combined for 80 touchdowns. The Broncos scored 76.
Wow.
So at 11-5, the Colts finished first in the AFC South, but their final net points was only 55. This means, on average, each Colts game was a 3-point win. There were 3 division winners, the Patriots, Bengals, and Packers, finished 500 or below on the road. The Eagles were the only one of 12 playoff teams to finish with a 500 or worse home record. They finished 4-4 at home. The Chiefs are the only one of the 12 playoff teams to end their season with a loss, and of course, they lost in the first round. They actually lost 2 straight to end their season. Peyton Manning had more passing touchdowns than any other team had total touchdowns. The Bengals were the only team that went undefeated against playoff teams. So they beat Green Bay, New England, Indy, and San Diego and didn't lose to a playoff team. And that is all.
Until the playoffs started.
Right, and of course they lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Wow.
Which makes so much sense.
Yeah, some
Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite one of those stats, Isaac?
I gotta say that it's the Broncos scored 76 touchdowns, and 3 teams combined, the Jets, Jaguars, and Texans, scored 80.
That's what I thought.
I
like the one where you said that if the Vikings had only played how many minutes? 39 minutes or something? If they had only played 39 minutes in each game?
59.
Or 59, sorry. Whoa. If they only played 59 minutes in each game, that they would be the 3rd seed.
I'll send it right now so we can all look at it. I'll put it in the thing. So those are all the stats.
Wow. Hey, not to stray away from your thing real quick, but what's going on with the Patriots receiver core? Like, all of their receivers are hurt.
I don't know.
Really?
The Patriots are so banged up this year. I don't know how they're still in it, but they lose another linebacker or something.
They lost Spikes for the year.
Spikes, which is
that's rough.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a dagger in the heart for the Patriots.
It's amazing. As much as Tom Brady's had such a great year, I believe that, or Peyton Manning's had such a great year, I believe that Tom Brady should win the MVP.
Really? I think Manning.
Think of what he's done with no receivers, no tight ends.
Well, you watch his game, and he has missed. He's not as good as Manning was.
Well, yeah, but Manning's doing it with the best receiving core in the NFL. Yeah. Put Brady on that team, and he's better numbers.
But Julius Thomas was an unknown before the season, and now he's one of the top 5 tight ends in the NFL. So.
Well, he's just one of those guys.
Brady. None of Brady's receivers, even at the end of the season, are considered top receivers.
No, they dropped so many passes. Watching the Patriots games and watching Tom Brady throw a ball to like 10 yards downfield, and the receiver ran a screen, and then it's just wow, these
that's
receivers.
The most frustrating thing.
Yeah,
if you're a fan of that team. All right, let's move on because we've been talking about this a while. To Jay Gruden becoming the new coach of the Redskins. I didn't really like this move because I didn't think he was particularly great as the Bengals offensive coordinator. But Ian, what do you think?
Well, I never really like offensive coordinators going to become a head coach. It's just something I've never liked. I like defensive coordinators becoming coaches, but I feel like a team in this day and age, you need to have a good defense to win championships.
And the Bengals had an all right defense. It wasn't bad, but
it was mediocre. They had a pretty strong front 7, but their cornerbacks and safeties lacked skill heavily. But I feel like the Redskins, this is a good move for them. As much as I don't like the offensive coordinators becoming head coaches, I think a new offensive coordinator coach for RG3 might even be better, since he is such an athlete and
he has a lot of talent. I think he'll bounce back next year if he's healthy.
Yeah, I feel like he'll bounce back, but I really look for the Redskins to do is pick up a different running back. I don't like Alfred Morris.
Really? Morris had
No.
a good year last year, the year before this, but
What were his stats this year?
Yeah,
he
he
didn't
was
have.
hurt
I mean, but
most
they had
of
a
the
bad O
season.
line. They had a really bad O line this year.
Yeah, so that was my next question. Do you think they go O-line or defensive line in the draft?
Oh, I think they have to go O-line. You
I
got to
think
protect
O-line is their
RG3.
priority. RG3 doesn't get protected, he'll just hurt himself again.
And you have a pretty decent D-line. Well, you have some good Leo ends with Brian Arakpo, and Ryan Kerrigan, I believe his name is.
Kerrigan, yeah.
Kerrigan.
But that guy just who had played there for so long just retired, right? From their
London
defense.
Fletcher.
Yeah, Fletcher.
Still, I think you gotta go O-line. Like Isaac said, RG3, you drafted him as the prize player to build your franchise around, and you gotta protect him first. If he gets hurt again and you can't play, you failed. You wasted a high draft pick on a player that you failed to protect, and it was just a waste of a draft pick. He got you to one playoff game and lost
Waste
it.
of talent.
And
they could have won that game. I went back and watched some of that game a little while ago because I was curious. And they were up for a significant amount of that game. And really, they could have still come back when RG3 got hurt at the end. And it was that injury that squandered them.
Yeah, they have failed to impress me with their draft choices. In the last year, the Redskins didn't have a very good offensive line. It was just no one had seen RG3 before, and no one knew what he was capable of. But now everybody's seen him a year. There's a lot of film on him, and people could just get hits on him because they knew what he was going to do. He's going to run outside. He's going to run outside the pocket, pitch it to Morris, or take off.
Right.
The majority of the time, and then they could just hit him. And I hate to say this, but
he's susceptible to injury.
Yeah, he's tall and lanky. It's not what you want, but their draft choice has just been awful. They haven't improved their offensive line at all.
They've definitely tried, but I don't think. I think getting rid of Shanahan was a good step.
Yeah, that was the right. Did they also fire his son?
I don't know. They fired a lot of their staff.
Yeah, that's what needed to happen. They have so much talent on that roster. Santana Moss is going to be retiring soon, and then they'll have no wide receivers.
All right. Well, why don't we go back to the early game on Sunday? Why don't I start talking about that? And that would be the game that will take place. Let me pull up the
San
second game.
Francisco, Carolina.
NFC. San Francisco at Carolina, a rematch of a very close game from earlier this year where the Carolina Panthers won something like 12-10. What do you think, Jeremy, if you're still there, if you didn't leave us?
Oh, of course not.
What do you think about this game? Who wins and what's the score?
I know you guys are going to hate me for this, but I like the 49ers in this game.
I think I'll be rooting for the Niners. I want to see them play the Seahawks in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
I was on a show Sunday night with Robert Dieters, Nick Rice, and Stephen Hughes, and we were making predictions for this game. I said Panthers, but now I went back, looked at all the stats, looked at all the records, and now I'm thinking 49ers.
Well, the 49ers they need to be more. They need to win stronger. They won their last 3 games all in the final minute against the Falcons, against the Cardinals, against the Packers. No,
they won in the final minute against the Seahawks as well.
So they need to win stronger. They need to win games by more.
Well, it's not like they can overpower any team because you can definitely go hand for hand with the 49ers. It's not like the Seahawks or the Broncos in some ways where they have one unit that's extraordinarily good and another unit that's so-so. Their defense is not as good as everyone thinks. If you can block that front 7, you can just pick apart the secondary because that secondary is very weak. And if, Robert, you're listening to the show, I changed my pick from the Carolina Panthers to the San Francisco 49ers. Because the Panthers don't have any sort of offensive line. I don't think they can protect Cam Newton at all.
Yeah, it'll be on him to do things with his feet. And without Steve Smith, who is their maybe their fastest receiver.
And their best receiver.